Hello, everyone. Happy June. All right, Amber, you want me to kick it off?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, welcome to the June West Virginia Entrepreneurship Ecosystem call. We are so excited to be here. Shout out, I don't know if CJ or Cooper are on today, but we were very excited to attend the Almost Heaven Classic this past weekend. Amber, over to you if you have any thoughts on that.
I just thought it was a blast. It was a great networking event on Friday evening. The session from Brad and Sarah Biller and Brandon Dennison was really motivating. So it was an awesome opportunity, and we look forward to attending next year.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll go ahead and kick it off and get started with our partner spotlight, Black Bear Capital. So Max, over to you, buddy.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. I'm going to share my screen really quick. Let me know if you can see it.
We can see it.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to give you just a quick background of myself and what I'm doing here in West Virginia. But in a nutshell, what I'm trying to capture and the problem I'm trying to tackle is this generational issue we have of businesses that lack succession planning in West Virginia, right? No transition plan in place. So me, I'm from a small town here in West Virginia, Ravenswood, graduated from Wesleyan, again, just exposed, very limited exposure to the outside world. I thought I needed to leave West Virginia, so I did. Ended up getting a graduate degree from Vanderbilt down in Tennessee, and that opened my eyes to kind of a whole new world of opportunity. I followed a lot of my classmates to Wall Street, where I worked as an analyst for 2 years for a large investment bank, working 80-hour weeks, being very miserable, but building a strong skill set. And ultimately, I went to work in the industry of what's known as private equity. And I got a job for a middle market firm in South Florida. And what private equity is as a whole is you raise capital from institutions and individuals. You take that money and then you go and invest it in private businesses. And so I did that for about a year and a half. And in 2016, I was given the opportunity to move back to West Virginia, albeit not in private equity, but in wealth management. And I took that opportunity to come back and work for United Bank. And within my first year of returning back to West Virginia, I could already see the problem that I just mentioned around succession planning. I ended up buying my first business about 9 months after moving home, which was a local health club, a local gym. And the story was 62-year-old owners have 2 children, neither of which wanted to live in Ripley, West Virginia, or run a gym. And they had been trying to sell the business for 2 years. So, what happens to that business over the long term? All while still with United Bank. And I was with United for about 3 or 4 years until I said, look, if I want to do this for a career, I want to do it for myself. I founded Black Bear Capital in the very beginning of 2021, which is a wealth management, just an investment firm in general. And later that year, I partnered with 2 other individuals and bought a fairly large HVAC business based in Beckley, West Virginia. And again, the same issue, 62-year-old owner, 2 children, one's a pharmacist and one's an engineer. Neither had interest in running an HVAC company. So ultimately what happens to that business, very successful, financially feasible company. There's 2 options. Ultimately, he liquidates, closes down, sells his building parts, et cetera, retires, or he sells that business to a firm outside of West Virginia. And so what happens in that scenario is most of the jobs in West Virginia are preserved. Probably 80% of the jobs are preserved, but the profitability from that business now leaves the state, right? It's going to investors elsewhere, Chicago, Charlotte, et cetera. And so after seeing that gave me the kind of the foresight of, look, I've built a skill set in private equity from a prior career that there is a big enough need here in West Virginia to do that, albeit on a smaller scale. And so what I've done is I've raised at this point, around $12 million from individuals across West Virginia, again, pulled it into a pot. What's known as Whitewater Capital Partners is the name of the fund, and we are investing it in legacy-based businesses throughout West Virginia. And so I'll go through this deck really quick. This is more for investor purposes, but it kind of gives you a feel of what we're doing here in West Virginia. And I'm happy to send this to anyone on the call, Tara, if that's something of interest. But again, the problem here, and I'll get to it, is there's roughly 25,000 small businesses in West Virginia with between 1 and 500 employees. And over half of those businesses, the age of the owner is 55 and up, and we naturally have a skew higher here in West Virginia of an older demographic. And generally speaking, roughly a third of them have a succession plan in place. So that leaves around 8,000 businesses here in West Virginia where the owner is getting close to retirement, where there is no succession plan in place. So again, what happens there? One, they close down, or two, they sell to an outside financial firm, which again, what we're trying to do and what we're trying to prevent here is the generation old problem that exists in West Virginia, which is asset extraction. We've seen it from the natural resource industry with coal and other natural resources. But what we don't want to see is that happening to the sustainable and financially feasible businesses here in West Virginia is private equity or private investors coming in, buying the assets, buying the businesses, and then extracting those assets elsewhere, right? And so that's the solution. That's a problem that we're trying to solve. And generally speaking, from a process, our goal, and this is where we could use the most help, is simply word of mouth, right? How do we source these opportunities? How do these business owners know that there are resources out there like us that are that could potentially partner with us, but not just that, could get the knowledge that they need to really understand what that process looks like? Business owners naturally have very little understanding around financial valuation, the marketing of a business, et cetera, just given their trade. So when you're looking at a process, sourcing opportunities is first. It's finding the businesses that are in need. And we've started to build relationships with these organizations that you see here. And that's kind of who we focused on. The next piece is, once we buy the business, who's going to run it? A lot of people that are retiring, that's a big issue. And what I would say here, Tara, is entrepreneurship can take many paths. And what this is entrepreneurship through acquisition, right? It's a much less risky form of entrepreneurship relative to, say, starting up a company, right? Maybe it's not as sexy, maybe it's not as innovative, but you're buying a business that has been around, that has a brand name, that frankly you can do very well financially with. So we're trying to find operators as well. And one of those avenues that we've taken is transitioning military veterans. One of our partners, which you'll see here in a minute, is heavy in the military space. And again, military veterans that are retiring are ideal operators of businesses. So we do want to try to bring some of those folks back to West Virginia. And then generally speaking, portfolio management, that's just managing the businesses that we have collectively. And then ultimately, we want to grow through M&A. We want to buy one business and we want to pair them with other businesses that are within 45 minutes to an hour, so we can start to see those economies of scale. That's the general process of the fund. This gives a little more.
Max, I apologize because of our agenda. If you don't mind, if you want to have just like one quick minute on any asks or any final thoughts, and then I'm going to have to throw it over to our entrepreneur spotlight. Nope. I apologize.
No, absolutely. Again, so what we need is from you guys is, if anything, is when you hear of a situation, you hear of a business, you hear of a business owner that may need assistance or have thought about selling their business, again, just think of us, and we can always be a conversation. So that's our biggest ask. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. If you don't mind putting your contact information in the chat, I think we know this is definitely something that's very important to the state, this idea of entrepreneurship by acquisition. We appreciate you so much coming on to talk about what you're doing.
Yes, next, thank you guys.
We have our entrepreneur spotlight. We have Christy with Dumas Psychology Collective. Christy is also a member of Leadership West Virginia right now. So Christy, take it away.
Thank you. I am going to share my screen. You can let me know if you can see it.
We can see it.
Perfect. Yep. So thank you for having me. My name is Christy Williams Dumas. I am the owner of Dumas Psychology Collective, and I am calling this spotlight the Pivot Package. So who am I? So Dumas Psychology Collective is a mental health and consulting entity. We have operated as a licensed behavioral health and neurofeedback brain training center. We have been a collective of LPCs, licensed professional counselors, therapists, psychologists, and brain trainers. Personally, I have worked as a forensic psychologist. I'm a qualified expert witness, in the mental health field. I'm qualified on the local, state, and federal levels. I'm a consultant for both private and public entities, a public speaker, a trainer, and a new author. So my areas of expertise include diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, and belonging, strategic planning, working with boards, most of which tend to be polarized, social determinants, health equity, mental health first aid in the workplace, and inclusive branding. So the what? So I'm trying to talk about the who, the what, and the ask very quickly. So the power of the pivot. One of the things that COVID taught me, a lot of things, many lessons about my business, about myself, and about my brand. So as a small business owner in Southern West Virginia, I found how necessary and powerful the pivot really is. So to change directions on services, on our offerings, and our target demographics. And this was really based on personal experience and growth, acquired expertise, change in the moral compass, my own and society's at large, and consumer demand. So what's the what? Getting over the guilt of moving away from classical offerings of psychology, and this whole notion of this socialization that society puts on is that we have to do one thing and do one thing well. For a while, it was doing psychological evaluations, it was testifying, or it was seeing clients in a clinical spectrum. I had to get over the guilt pivot. So as a collective, we now believe that clinical treatment is absolutely important, but we feel we're able to make a much bigger impact through consulting, psychoeducation, and advocacy. So right now, Duma Psychology Collective and the Unstuck Psychologist, as I'm known in the branding world, we are making the biggest pivot to date. We are moving away from clinical work. We're moving away from insurance panels and debt recovery. So what's the ask? The ask is accessibility. Expertise, ability, experience, creativity, and dependability mean absolutely nothing without access. I need people who believe in and live the tenets of DEIAB to introduce me to their networks. So what I'm asking is for you all to be ex officio members of my PR team. Although I've hired a very capable and wonderful team, you and I both know that word of mouth is better than any public image and marketing team I could ever pay for. So I'm asking you to take the pivot with me. So I am Dr. Christy Williams-Dumas. I'm a forensic scientist and psychologist by day, and a consultant, dreamer, and author by night. All of my information is here, my email, my website, my phone number. As I said, in the branding world, I'm known as the Unstuck Psychologist, particularly on my social media platforms. I do a lot of trainings that are specifically tailored to individuals and also to private and public entities. Duma Psychology Collective is the umbrella that DPC really covers for the Unstuck Psychologist and our other training materials. The Brain Training Center, I am also a community provider for the local VA. We offer neurofeedback to veterans and their families. And Unstuck, Moving Towards Your Ideal Life, is my first book that is an interactive book where a lot of different companies and agencies that bring me in to do trainings actually have bought the book 100, 200 at a time for their staff and to augment some of the training and other materials that I bring when I do wide, broad trainings with staff and also administration. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you so much, Christy. It's been such a pleasure to meet you through Leadership West Virginia, and I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow in Fayetteville.
Yes.
If you don't mind, if you would just drop your information in the chat so people can check out your website and drop you a note if they'd like to connect. And I'm going to turn it over to Amber to talk about Bridging Innovation Week 2024 in Huntington.
Yeah, we're really excited. We just have a couple quick updates that are really on kind of a save the date and an opportunity to get engaged. So save the date, we have announced that we're already going to be in Huntington, but our dates will be April 8th through the 11th. We are coordinating with some of Marshall University's graduation events. So we're hoping to get some really neat speakers coming and attending part of that week with us. So April 8th through the 11th, 2024, we will be in Huntington, West Virginia for Bridging Innovation Week. We're taking it back down south. So engagement opportunities, we mentioned this very briefly before on our previous call, but we kind of have two opportunities that we're looking at. If you are planning on hosting an event during the week, we would ask you to participate on our planning committee. We will have a sign-up sheet for that, or sign-up form for that. We want to make sure that we're cohesive and engaging everyone that is hosting an event so that we're promoting them all and we're getting that word out there and we're making sure that they're all aligned. So if you plan on hosting an event during the week, please reach out and complete that form once we go live with it. We'll probably go live, Jen, what did we say, like midsummer, and start convening monthly meetings with that group closer to the end of the year. Does that sound right, Jen?
Yeah, we want to get a few of the things in line with our plans before we start asking everybody else their plans, and be able to share that information when we first meet. So look for the information probably in the next few weeks, and then we'll start meeting probably September, October time.
Great. And then we're also planning this year to do session kind of open crowdsourced session ideas and session topics and different workshops. So we'll be doing a call for speakers, and we will share that information through the ecosystem. Would love for you to share that with different entrepreneurs in your community. And we're also going to be looking for members of the ecosystem to help with the review and the recommendations of which panel to move forward and bring into our agenda for 2024. So really building out that ecosystem component and making sure all the voices are heard. So those are kind of our updates about what to look for. We're getting some of the logistics coordinated, but big note here is April 8th through 11th, 2024 in Huntington, and save the date.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amber. Next, we would like to, on behalf of the West Virginia entrepreneurship ecosystem, say congratulations to Ariana Shrives, who is the new Right to Start West Virginia advocate. So Ariana, if you have a couple of words about what Right to Start is and what you will be doing for the state of West Virginia.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you so much. So I was just, as Tara mentioned, named the West Virginia Advocate for Right to Start, which is an organization. It's actually a national nonprofit on a mission to reduce the barriers to entrepreneurship across the country. They've kind of started. There are 25 advocates now. I was number 25 that have started in areas that face particularly high barriers to entrepreneurship. My job is currently focused on learning more about what those barriers are, where they exist, so that we can begin to implement policies, share resources, kind of a lot of things that Amber and Tara and even Mark are already doing to begin to break those barriers down and to help as many current and future entrepreneurs as possible. So my kind of ask is I would love to talk to as many of you as possible about the barriers that you've faced, the barriers that you've seen others face in entrepreneurship, how you've overcome those, or maybe how you haven't yet been able to overcome those. Any ideas you have, resources you found, kind of anything and everything. I will put the Right to Start website in the chat, as well as a link to my LinkedIn and my email address. Please feel free to email me or reach out in any capacity, and I would love to chat.
Great, thank you, and welcome to the ecosystem. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you.
Next, we have another opportunity to nominate and be representing West Virginia. Kenzie, do you want to talk a little bit about Young Guns and what's involved with that?
Yes, thank you guys so much for having me on today. So we are working on Young Gun nominations. So for the fall issue, we're looking for people who are under the age of 43, have been in their position for 2 years, are, obviously excelling in their career, but very community minded. So any individual that's selected for Young Guns, as Tara was last year, we have sort of 3 specific community service components that are unrelated to their job. So that's where things get really sometimes tricky. So kind of keeping that in mind, We do have other award programs. If you know some really awesome people in your sort of in your world that are over the age of 43, they can be a sharpshooter, which is similar to Young Guns. They can also be a lawyer and leader if they happen to be within the legal community, or a Hall of Famer with the Healthcare Hall of Fame if they happen to be in the healthcare world. And that is not specific to doctors. It's anyone who works within healthcare. But the one that's coming up for the fall issue is our Young Guns class, and the nominations for that, I believe, are due, I think, August 1st. So they're coming up, and I'll put the link to our website on there, and there's a little drop-down menu for all of the awards where you can go in and put your nomination. If you have any trouble, I'll put my email in there as well, and you can drop me a personal note with anyone you'd like to nominate as well. So that's it. Thank you much.
Thank you, Kenzie, and thank you for all the great work you do. So if anyone has any ideas or submissions or would like to nominate someone, please let Kenzie know. Next up, we have Eva Tor. You may have seen Eva at Bridging Innovation Week. She was in the business plan competition, now Ignite West Virginia. And I asked her to come on and talk about an experience that she recently had regarding manufacturing in the state of West Virginia. So Eva, if you'd like to share your story.
Yes, thank you. So as Tara mentioned, my name is Eva Tor. I'm the founder and CEO of the Stable Boy LLC, a new startup in the horse industry that produces portable saddle holders. And as someone with a product that has a lot of moving parts, I've really struggled to find manufacturing and keep it in the state of West Virginia like I'd hoped. I was specifically looking for a vacuum forming machine, one that was big enough to handle the size of my product. And I really struggled to find one within the state. And Tara originally wanted me to come on here and talk about those struggles and see if anyone might be able to help me find one. And since then, I've actually been able to find one. It took about a month and a half and a vast network of people searching for me. But Tara also wanted me to share that story of solving that problem. So I used Jamie Cope, who's with the West Virginia Manufacturing Extension Partnership. Kevin DiGregorio, the WVU Lane Innovation Hub has been a huge help, especially since manufacturers specialize and it's difficult to find someone to do assembly. So everybody who I've talked to has pointed me to at least 2 or 3 others who've been able to help. And there's really just such a great network in West Virginia of people who are willing to go above and beyond to help me solve any problem that might arise. So my goal really is to bring more manufacturing opportunities and more diverse manufacturing to West Virginia so that entrepreneurs don't struggle with these problems in the future. And if anyone has any ideas for me of manufacturers who could do assembly, I'm absolutely open to hear it. So thank you for letting me speak and sharing what my experience has been.
Thank you, and we appreciate it so much. So I will put that ask out to the ecosystem. If you have any recommendation or connections that Eva can make, that would be fantastic. And Eva, I just want to also say that, you know, we know that is a issue in the state, and we are working on manufacturing and making some of those connections. So appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. Next up, we have the United States Patent and Trademark Office. I've been working with Elizabeth Doherty for a couple years, who is over the Eastern region with National Entrepreneurship Week, and they recently reached out regarding West Virginia and the work that we're doing. So Stephen, I'll kind of let you take it from here on the resources and connections.
Sure. So thank you for inviting me to come out here today. My name is Stephen Yanchek, and I joined the Patent and Trademark Office straight from college. Got an engineering degree, and I've been working here for 15 years in fuel cell and batteries. I'm a patent examiner, and that's to help foster innovation, competitiveness, and economic growth domestically and abroad by providing high quality and timely examination of patents. You know, when it comes to entrepreneurship, there are clear trends of increasing companies' valuation based upon the intangible assets that are being created. You know, protecting intellectual property is shown to improve the opportunities to secure local loans and to discover more investors. In that light, IP portfolio is business portfolio. And our agency is proactively working to engage communities to provide them the guidance and services they need the most. Aside from my duties as a patent examiner, I work with Elizabeth Daugherty, as you mentioned, to empower and deliver intellectual property information and education within the United States under the Eastern Regional Outreach Office. West Virginia is within our region. Although I'm based out of Charlottesville, Virginia, I can make it over there pretty easily, and I hope to look forward to joining you in April for next year's event. In this outreach capacity, our team connects with students, inventors, companies, and communities such as yourselves. Sometimes we act as an ear for the agency, soliciting feedback and share it with our policymakers to simplify the process or create new pilot programs. Sometimes we act as a voice, sharing information and resources developed by the agency, specifically related to searching and navigating the process. And sometimes we act as a liaison to connect you to the right people within the agency, because it's a pretty vast agency. We have over, I think, 14,000 employees here. But connecting you to the right people, so that way you can best address your IP concerns wherever they may land. Today I'm really here just on behalf of my team to say hello and to thank you for inviting us to connect with your audiences. We're open to collaborate and figure out ways to meet your intellectual property needs, whether that's just sharing information or guidance and additional resources. I'm going to put our team's email into the chat, and if you have any specific concerns, we do one-on-ones, virtually connecting and listening, even if you just want to kind of say whatever's on your mind. That's what we're here for. So thanks for inviting me today, and looking forward to working with everybody here in the coming months, years in the future.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. We're looking forward to seeing you at the Jamboree here in the next month or so. Okay, up next, we have Aaron Simon. He is going to be talking about his business, Farm to Fork Meat Processing, which was in the business playing competition many moons ago, again, now Ignite West Virginia. So Aaron, if you'd like to share your story and specifically your experience with the funding side of things, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, thank you for having me here. I am Aaron Simon, as she said, and I'm here talking about my business, Farm to Fork Meat Processing, and that was a meat processing business that was formed back in 2019, and we have since then purchased a piece of land in Jackson County, and right now are finishing the phase of the loan and working with EDA and a bank to get ready to start the construction side of the project. The issue or the ask that I'm kind of facing right now is looking for just a little bit more money to put into the project. Our project's about a $2 million project, so I'm looking for just a little bit of money to put into that. I've met pretty much all of the funding needs. I'm looking for about 50,000 is what I'm looking for right now, and we are really close to wrapping up the loan with this and the loan with the EDA, and then we will start in the construction phase. We've got an architect already finished up the drawings and the engineering, and we've got our contractors picked that will open the bid to. This is a huge opportunity for our area because meat processors are needed, and COVID really shined a light on that. So I didn't want to take up too much time. I seen that I was allotted about 2 minutes, so that I just wanted to hit that part. But if any of you all have any advice or can offer me any help or anything, I'd love to talk to you. So
And Aaron, I know you're on your phone, so I went ahead and dropped your name and email address in the chat for you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm volunteering at a 4-H camp this week, like I do every year, and the service here is not the best. So.
All right. Well, Aaron, we'll help the ecosystem get you in there and get that 50,000 out of 2 million. It's not a hard ask. So, and
Well,
I already see
you.
one. Marjorie has said there's a loan fund through Faster West Virginia, so she will reach out to you, Aaron. So we appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. And Tara's helped me as well. Before even this started, she helped me get in touch with the Wyoming County EDA, which has helped tremendously. We was a lot farther from closing this before that, so now we're really close. Like you said, 50,000 is not much in the scope of 2 million. So, and we were I'm not meaning to take up time, but it's also exciting for Eric because we're going to be starting about 15 to 20 jobs in Jackson County, which is huge. So
amazing. No, props to you. Thank you. We'll get you it.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Aaron. All right. Next we have Karen Friel to talk about the, I'm going to go read the whole title because it's a long one. Appalachian Mountains Path to Prosperity Economic Development Series. So Karen, take it away. I'll go ahead and get that up while we're talking.
Sounds good. Thank you. And hello, everyone. It is so great to be able to hit, I believe there's like 68 on this call across the state here. So I want to send you a personal invitation as a resource, as a small business, as a community partner, lending institution, whatever you might be with. We are working together, the SBA, USDA, and the FDIC, to be able to provide what's considered to be a national event. There's been 9 that's been held across the nation so far. This will be coming up on June the 27th. West Virginia will be a host state, so we will be holding it in Fairmont, there at the High Tech Consortium Foundation. That's also where we have our Small Business Week Awards event, but we will be holding that event there. And the participating states that are within the region aren't necessarily the normal ones that would fall within our SBA Region 3, but they consist of Pennsylvania, Ohio, Maryland, Kentucky, Virginia, and again, of course, West Virginia. We have chosen West Virginia because of all those states. We are a very rural state, and we really need to be out there making sure that every nook and cranny in West Virginia, every community member, every person knows that you could come to this event or you can dial in virtually. It's being offered both ways, but we're really trying to get everyone to consider participating. It's going to be from 8 to 4 that day. Again, it's the 9th in the nation to be held. They're going to be, that's going to be for a level of resources and economic development agencies. And there's many of the people who are on the phone or on the session right now who are participating in this event with us. They're sitting on different panels here and there. And I want to thank you so much for agreeing to participate. Like I say, a lot of times we get shoved to the end. And if it's a regional event, it's held some other state, and they get that first opportunity, and they get to be the ones to be picked to be on the panels and hold these discussions. This one, you will see other people on panels, but you're going to see a lot of your local resources throughout the state as well. So please, please consider either coming in person on June 27th or participating virtually and attending. There is going to be links on the spreadsheets that Amber and Tara have shown on the screen that you can register. It'll ask you if you're considering doing that virtually or in person. Unfortunately, we won't be able to offer lunch. This is your tax dollars at work. But like I say, you're going to be seeing this hopefully being marketed all throughout those 5 states by USDA, by FDIC, by SBA. And again, because it touches on so many of our own resources and it's trying to help new entrepreneurs or existing entrepreneurs to be able to connect in the different ways. One thing I did want to mention is the different subjects and so forth that they're going to be talking about is access to capital and building a relationship with lenders. Some of you already have really good relationships, but I feel like, again, this is a networking opportunity as well. So even though you might be setting fine, you might want to know what someone else is doing or what they're offering or what other programs are even similar to you as a competitor or similar to you in any other aspect. Business basics, planning tools, government tools and resources, talking about government contracting and opportunities there to grow, even going into some cybersecurity and best practices. So thank you again. I know it's 2 minutes, so I want to wind that down, but the ladies are going to be sharing out those 2 attachments. And with that, I hope that everyone really considers joining, again, virtually or in person. I think they're also going to touch on some broadband stuff too, as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Karen. And thank you for your continued support of the state of West Virginia through the Small Business Development Administration or the Small Business Administration. Amber did share that Zoom link, and we will be sure to share it in the follow-up email as well. And then we are going to send it over to Frank Vitale to talk about an entrepreneur veteran boot camp. Over to you, Frank.
Well, good afternoon. Wow, a lot of awesome presentations. It's an exciting time in West Virginia, no doubt. Could I share my screen? Is that okay?
We will get that for you. Just 1 second.
Okay, you should be able to.
Okay, great. And I've just dropped in the registration link. So if you can see this slide deck, I'm going to be putting on a little boot camp for veteran entrepreneurs and their families. So if you know you're related at all to a veteran entrepreneur or you're related at all to a veteran, you're welcome to participate in this free webinar. Forge is our company. We're service disabled veteran owned. And so we're going to be talking about how to become a government contractor. For example, we'll talk about contracting with the federal government, the basics, key concepts and terms, finding opportunities, helpful programs for government small business contractors, and then resources available. So we hope to get a good audience out, and then we'll also be saving and recording the webinar and posting it on the forgebz.com website. So those that can't join can join at a later date. So thanks for entertaining.
Great. Thank you so much, Frank. Definitely check that out if you are a veteran or a member of, you have a veteran in your family. That's a great resource. Now we are going to talk about another exciting opportunity coming up. University of Charleston has a grand opening. So Travis, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for letting us just talk briefly about this. The grand opening for our downtown innovation hub is occurring on July the 10th at 9 a.m. And we talked about this a couple months ago, but just a really quick 30-second overview. The downtown innovation hub is designed for it's more or less a business acceleration program. So we look we've already got our first cohort, although I think we might still take another member or two if anybody's interested. But the hub is for established businesses who are past the startup stage, but who are looking to grow. And we are offering business acceleration coaching at no cost. And so we're able to do that through a grant from the US EDA. And it's so the grand opening, like I say, July 10th, 9 a.m. It's going to be at our hub, which is on Capitol Street in Charleston. It's on the corner of Capitol and Lee Way. So it's the same block as Taylor Books. And a lot of people know it as the Old Bagel Shop. So if you were ever in Charleston and went to the Old Bagel Shop, that's where it's at. So we welcome everybody to come out to it. And yeah, just hope to see you there. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Travis. It was great seeing you this past weekend. We're really looking forward to the new space down in Charleston. All right. And finally, Mark Burdett, I know you said you have several updates for us. So over to you, buddy. Tell us what's going on over at West Virginia Business Link.
Yeah, thanks, Tara. Appreciate it. For those of you who don't know, I'm Mark Burdett, the program coordinator here at West Virginia Business Link at the West Virginia Small Business Development Center. And yeah, I was hoping I was going to have one of the announcements. They haven't been released yet, so that might be delayed till next month. So stay tuned. But the other thing that's very exciting, and one of the takeaways that not only from Bridging Innovation, but also when I had the opportunity to go to Puerto Rico and network with our fellow affiliates across the country about some of the challenges and kind of what are some of the next steps for them to do and to do a better job of. And so one of the things we have decided here is and we want to put a call out to the entire network that we are committing to do 3 entrepreneurial journey stories for the remainder of this year and 4 next year. And that's 1 per quarter. That's our goal. And so the criteria is we really want to highlight entrepreneurs that have had multiple engagements in the ecosystem. Okay, so this is probably going to be an existing company, maybe a couple years, maybe it's within a year, maybe it's taken several years, whatever, but we really want the criteria to be multiple touch points with multiple resource partners, and it will be an in-depth blog post, video, the whole shebang through Commerce Communications, and we really want to highlight. So that was one of the big takeaways is to tell more stories, and that's one of the contributions that we want to commit to on behalf of the ecosystem to help tell these stories. So if you know of an entrepreneur that might meet that criteria, that has had multiple touch points. And, we're not necessarily, we want to have the full story: successes, failures, ups, downs, challenges. We really want to kind of go a deep dive into that. So that's an exciting thing that we wanted to share with the ecosystem, that we want to do for everyone, and hope that will spawn others to tell more stories, because I don't think we can tell enough. So that's all. Other than reminder, my monthly announcement, be sure to put your events into the system on the online calendar. If you guys have any events, please be sure to do that, and we'll get them up. And it's a great way to get statewide coverage for your event. And if anybody wants to be a guest blog post, we're always looking for. We have an awesome blog post from Marcia Myers, one of our own, that did a great blog post about how to find a professional or a financial professional, how to vet them. So if you're looking for some good content, come on over to BusinessLink, wvbusinesslink.com, and check it out. So thanks, guys, for the time. Appreciate it.
Great. Thanks so much, Mark. Yeah, monthly plug, put your events in there. If you aren't already registered, put your register as a partner on there, and always looking for blog and thought partnerships. So that is the place to be if you are an entrepreneur or an entrepreneurial support org in the state. So now is our lovely, this has been a fairly full agenda. So now it's time for any additional updates or opportunities that are coming up. If anybody wants to, feel free to throw them in the chat or unmute and just share kind of what you're working on or anything that you have an ask of in the ecosystem. Now is the time to do so.
We must have covered it all.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
Deacon over here to the Marshall Advanced Manufacturing Center. I just thought I'd let someone else take first if they wanted to, but I want to let everybody know about the upcoming June 22nd, and I'm putting this in the chat right now, Inventors Society, which we are hosting here at the Marshall Advanced Manufacturing Center. That's right, formerly RCDI. We've got a new name, same old mission that we've been accomplishing for over 30 years. And in this, we're bringing the community together to innovate, folks who are on the path at different levels on the path, some who have commercialized, others who are pursuing intellectual property protection, others who have a back of napkin sketch. Come join us. Ben Ing from the wonderful College of Business at Marshall University will be doing a hands-on design thinking workshop, and we'll have two innovators, Blue Ink Technology, who've been innovating in the over-road trucker tracking industry for years and have a thriving business set up where they support an app, hardware, software, and all. Laura Regal will be here to speak, as well as an inventor with whom we've worked here at the Advanced Manufacturing Center for some years now, and participated in Bridging Innovation. So that's the Spencer-based The Instrument Lab, and Gary Jenny will be here talking about taking ideas all the way to a complete product as he sells online and around the country. And finally, we've always got the upcoming West Virginia Makes Festival. That's October 6th this year on Marshall's campus. Here it comes in the chat. Check it out. Sign up. We've gotten out ahead of it this year. It's our 10th year. Dynamic donation from West Virginia American Water. We thank them for their support. And we're going to be promoting innovation all the way down to the K-12 level and beyond. And taking ideas full circle. So it's a celebration of making on all rights, artistic, engineering, and otherwise. And we look forward to you checking it out, integrating it into your classroom education. If you're associated with education, formal or informal, we'd love to see you there.
great. Thank you so much, Steve. Anybody else?
Deacon, can you reshare the October 8th? You put the June 2nd and 22nd in there twice.
Oh, thank you, friend.
Of course. Looking forward to it.
Got it.
Any other updates? I just want to say I'm so impressed with 60+ people joining on a sunny June afternoon. So I think that's a real testament to the ecosystem growing, and we're seeing so many more entrepreneurs join as well and ask for help. So I just want to say thank you for joining us and for continuing to be committed to the ecosystem. we do have an opportunity, a couple spotlights. So Tara, just August, or Tara and I also were texting on the side about this update.
Yes, so we have
I had
we just have 2 spots open for August, and looks like we are booked for September.
Yeah, so we have an opening for August Partner Spotlight and Entrepreneur Spotlight. So we'll do that first come, first serve. If you are interested in getting in there, if you want to send us an email, I'll put mine in the chat and then Tara's as well.
Yes, and if you have already gone, please let everyone else go. We haven't got around to going twice yet, so please just be respectful. If you've already gone, let other folks go, please.
But we're filling that out. So we do have an update, and then we have that full pass then till November is the next open one. So putting that out there. Marcia, you have a question for Karen, if you want to unmute.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, Karen, I just went to check on the registration for your event in Fairmont, and it says 8 a.m. Central Time. So is it Central, or do I need to show up at 9 o'clock my time?
Oh, Karen, I'm going to unmute you.
There.
There you go.
Yes, it's 8 a.m. our time here.
So ignore the Central part.
Yeah. Sorry about the confusion. You've got different people in different areas creating the stuff.
That's okay.
Time zones tend to get blurred.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't want to show up late for the party.
Yes. No. Registration, I think, is what they've got started at 8. And I think the kickoff, the main welcome is at 9. But I haven't seen the finalized panelists because they keep adding some additional panelists to it. So.
Okay, thanks so much.
But again, it's going to be a great event. And if you've got people that it's just beneficial for them to know the different programs that are out there and some best practices being done, not just here in West Virginia, because again, it includes 6 total states. So it's good information to listen in on.
Thank you.
All right. Kara, any other final thoughts?
I'm just with you. I'm feeling energized. I can't believe it is June and we had that many people on the call today. So thank you to everyone who is showing up, participating, engaging. This ecosystem is for you. So please always feel free to jump off mute, ask your questions in the chat, send us an email if you'd like to get on the agenda. As always, everything is free. So please keep engaging.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks all. Bye.